Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Here's a wonderful voice.
God, I love the station.
Good morning, wherever you may be around the globe, in the chat room, on another planet, or on the other side. This is The Last Frequency. Yes, it is. And I am Mike Vera, and I welcome all of you wherever it is you may be, wherever that may be. So tonight, folks, not good. Not good at all. Why do people do this? Why? Just why? I tell you, I got to remove that from here. I got this WhatsApp type thing, and I don't know, it was just appeared one day, and there it is, just weirdos. That's got to go. Anyways, where was I? So the broadcast is coming at you live from the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, located on the east coast of the United States. And, I've got a really good guest tonight, and I'll tell you all about Robert Shiepe. I believe it's pronounced Shiepe. And I'll be on camera here in just a second, working on some stuff. He's a pharmacist, an inventor, a UAP investigator, and, of course, we'll save the pharmacy stuff for another night because, tonight we're broadcasting live, not only on the VARA network, but also on YouTube. So, we don't want to go too far into pharmaceutical stuff because it won't be pretty. I got to tell. Alright. So, I had to let somebody know. Now's not the time. You see the timing? I'm just going live, right? Just going live. And look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna remove it. That's what I'm gonna do. Maybe that might take care of it. Anyways, Robert Shiepe, he is my guest tonight, and we're gonna talk about his UAP investigations. He's got videos on his website, and I'll tell you, some of them are interesting. Others, a couple of them were really tough to make out. The craft. Anyways, but some of them, oh man, I mean, these things come so close to these aircrafts. It's got to be a danger. It just has to. So, anyhow, let's get into a little bit of news and discovery, but not before I give you some information. First off, the website lastfrequency.com, and social medias. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on mewe, on Twitter. I'm on, what else? Oh, yeah, Truth Social. So you can find me on those, but you can really find me on the mothership of all we do, lastfrequency.com. So, Grim Reaper spotted in footage of King Charles coordination. How about that? Grim Reaper. I looked at it, it could have been a man walking with a hood, some kind of priesty thing. I don't know. But it was black. He was carrying something in his hand. And it did resemble very much the Grim Reaper. A clip showing a dark hooded figure in Westminster Abbey has been generating some lively debate on social media, so it's said, as millions of people from all around the world tuned in to view the historic crowning of King Charles III. Did they? I didn't. I don't care about that stuff. You care about that? I honestly don't care about any of that. The crowning or the kings and queens. I thought that should be children's books, I would think now. But, we'll to each their own. Just my opinion. So some spotted someone altogether unexpected sulking through the background during one particular shot. And, again, the figure hurried through, and you could see him walk by. And it looks like the Grim Reaper. So maybe that's saying something. Like king and queen stuff should be. Anyways. After more than 50 years, scientists finally confirmed that the moon has a solid inner core, just like Earth. Now, I know some people say, no, you could get in that and drive it away. Maybe you can. I don't know. I'm just telling you what they're telling us. They claim that they have now confirmed that the moon has a solid inner core, just like Earth. They had to confirm that it has an atmosphere, too, because it does. There's a lot of other things they had to confirm about the moon that they don't. But, solid inner core, maybe it does, maybe it don't. I don't trust anything they tell me. I kind of go with my gut. So, after more than 50 years, they say scientists finally uncovered the moon's interior structure, showing that our closest celestial companion has a fluid outer core and a solid inner core similar to Earth. Well, it is similar to Earth. That's why I think that there's a lot going on there. So, anyways, astronomers say that they've been puzzled over the moon's structure since well before the probes landed there. Did they? What happened? We don't know. They don't tell us the truth. So, anyways, solid inner core for the moon now. So, nobody's getting in and dry. Maybe they filled it in. I don't know. Researchers found signs of conscious-like brain activity in patients who passed away while in a coma. Seeing events flashing before your eyes, observing a bright light at the end of a tunnel, or feeling as though you are floating above your own body are just some of the things commonly described by patients who've been a near-death experience. And I know, again, my father, he said that there was a spirit meeting him in the middle of the night and taking him to walk the halls of the facility he was in. And then would bring him back, I guess, before daylight. I don't know, almost like freaking vampire stuff, right? But that kind of comforted me because he was of sound mind when he said this. And this was happening, he said, every night. So, some nights I'd be sitting there, and I just think, well, I'm talking to an empty shell. He's probably roaming the halls right now, and But anyways, so someone was coming to greet him. And, Mom, she said she saw angels. My aunt, she argued with people and said she wasn't going. They won the argument. She did go. I've seen some convincing stuff in my life, folks. Some convincing stuff. It's time to rewrite that book, I think, and do it good and actually get, anyways. So they say, what exactly is the experience of somebody who dies while in a comatose state? In a recent study, researchers analyzed EEG brain scans recorded during the final moments of 4 patients who were comatose and unresponsive after suffering from suspected seizures. Their findings were surprising. 2 of the patients exhibited an increase in heart rate followed by a surge in brain activity associated with consciousness. According to study leader Jimbo Borginov. These, I don't know where I'll tell you what. I mean, it's like, it's a simulation. It's like only I get stuck with these names. Anyways, he's from the University of Michigan. This could indicate that the patients had been internally awakened at that time. And they say how vivid experience can emerge from a dysfunctional brain during the process of dying is a neuroscientific paradox. He says we saw potential neurosignatures of consciousness. Well, I could tell you that the body, the soul leaves this body. I've been out of my body a few times. I had an interaction with my mother. It was very real. You know, I don't need to be convinced of anything. I believe my father when he tells me he was being met, and I believe my mother that she's seen angels. I mean, they wouldn't lie about that thing, and it wasn't like they were all drugged up or they were having normal functions at the time. They weren't on anything, so I don't know. And I get it. If you've never experienced anything, you might just take that with a grain of salt. That's okay. Do what you got to do. Maybe one day you'll see for yourself. So, UAPs. We're going to talk about those next with my guest. He's coming up here in just a few minutes. And I think what we'll do, if you want to see the videos, we'll send you to the web. I was going to put them on screen, but I don't want to cut him off of the ankles there. He'll send you to his website to watch any of them. Robert Shiepe. Shiepe? I think it's Shiepe, not Sheep. Robert Shiepe joining me next. I'm Mike Vera. This is The Last Frequency. It's Sunday night. It's 9 p.m. Well, it's a little after 9 now, 9:13. And we'll be back in just a few minutes, folks. Don't go away.
Columbia. Excellent.
Number one means you're always on top. Your number one radio.
You're listening to the VARA Network. Hey, frequencies of all walks of life. Keep up with all things TLF radio by joining our mailing list. Go to the bottom of the homepage and fill in the form. You'll get everything from guest info and show info and other important station-related information. So sign up now.
Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
You heard me. Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
For all your bumper sticker needs, just click on the Crazy Ass Bumper Stickers banner located at the foot of my website, www.lastfrequency.com. That's Crazy Ass Bumper Stickers and more.
You're making me crazy.
I want to talk to you about something very important for a moment here, folks. That is clean drinking water. Yeah, you can survive without it for about 3 days. How do you know yours is even pure? You don't, but I'll tell you what is. This is the ultimate water filtration solution. It's called Alexa Pure Pro. It is a groundbreaking gravity-fed water filtration system that outperforms all the others for less. I personally stand behind the Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system because I use it.
Welcome to the night. From the Midlands of South Carolina, you're listening to The Last Frequency with your host, Mike Vera. To get questions directly to Mike Vera, you can call in or message Mike on our website, www.lastfrequency.com. Now, here is Mike Vera.
Returned. Well, I was a little panicky there at the break. I thought the YouTube was not working or something, but I checked it on another computer and it is working, so that's good. Good to know. So yeah, I want to bring on my guest, Robert Shiepe, here in just a moment. Yeah, I scramble during a break. I'm just scrambling my butt off, making sure I get everything, I's dotted, T's crossed. And so let me go ahead and bring him on. Let's see here. And away we go. Robert Shiepe coming up. I think. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Oh, good. Well, good evening to you, Robert. It's a pleasure to have you tonight. I appreciate you taking time out to be with me.
Well, thank you for calling. I appreciate it. I appreciate being here also.
All right, great. Yes. So, I guess a little background. I don't have a whole lot of bio on you. I know you're pharmacist, inventor, UAP investigator, and I really want to get into the UAP part of things tonight. And maybe another night we could talk about that whole pharmacy thing. but yeah, so how did it all get started for you?
Wow, when you say how did I become interested in UAP?
Yeah, and I watched those videos. I was looking at the videos, some interesting stuff, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Probably back in the early 70s, I became extremely interested in UAPs, UFOs back then. Always very curious. And then along the way, in the 80s, I opened my own pharmacy. I was actually the first mail-order pharmacy in the United States, which is unbelievable if you think about it.
Yeah.
I ran into a gentleman, worked Air Force intelligence, and he started giving me clues of what's going on. His name's Glenn Falkenstein. And then I've always thought about what he was telling me. I always put it in the back of my head, but I was too busy really to act on it. And then back in 2017, here in Marina Del Rey, Los Angeles, something highly unusual started. The Coast Guard and the Black Hawks started flying in over the boats, 500 feet for 4 hours. They hovered, and they did not leave. And after 2 weeks, I just said, I'm going to record this. Something's not right. And then when I recorded it, I played it back in slow motion. You can see these small objects flying up to their windshield.
Wow.
And that's when it all started. The summer of 2017.
So yeah.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, if they didn't make it so obvious, if they would have left after a couple of days, I would have never figured it out. And by the way, they've never left. So this has been going on every day since 2017. And since then, I've recorded, there's been over 15,000 sorties, helicopters chasing these small UAPs. And I have now recorded and I've kept 4,000 of the best videos.
I gotta tell you, I don't think I'd want to be in the helicopter chasing one of those things, because yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're not telling these pilots what you may be encountering.
Yeah.
I'm very convinced they're telling these pilots, look, we've got some wise guy flying an Earth drone, and it's becoming a problem, and we need you to go figure it out. And when I say these pilots, I mean pilots of Ospreys, Apaches, Black Hawks, the police, the sheriff, the fire department, the Coast Guard, and even Edison. And again, they've been here every day for the last 6 years, chasing them. And there's a free handy radar on the internet. It's called planefinder.net. Have you ever heard of it?
I have heard of that.
Yeah, Planefinder. It's very handy. It's free. And
I used to use it, and I kind of changed computers, and I lost track of it. But you just reminded me of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I just watch it when I see helicopters coming toward Marina Del Rey. I just and that sounds too easy, but it kind of is that easy.
I seen once in New York. I remember seeing a plane. It was coming off from the airport, flying up. And this little silver disc craft was flying right underneath it, and then it disappeared. And my buddy thought I was crazy, but I seen it.
No, that's the secret. I tell people now, take your cell phone whenever you see a helicopter or plane, record it, turn your phone sideways, landscape, zoom in halfway, record it for 30 seconds, and then later look for a tiny black dot in the center of the video, and that will be the small UAP. And these small UAPs, back then, when I had a 1080 Sony camcorder, I thought they had to be a bug, an insect. It had to be a
bird, maybe
a dragonfly, basically a dragonfly. It had to be, because it had wings but so I went out and I got a better camera, a Panasonic X1000, 4K, 60 frames, 20 optic zoom. I customized it, put it on a tripod. I literally picked up a 4K monitor, a 14-inch. I adapted it to the camera, and I built a light box around it so I could see it in the daytime. That's where the inventor comes in. And I got my first medical patent last year. So that's how I happened. I've got it down to a predictable science. It's just today. I wasn't even trying, but the police came in, very predictable. And if you look on a Google map, if you look at Marina Del Rey, there is these rocks that block the entrance of the marina. It's a wave breaker. It basically attenuates the kinetic energy of the waves. For some reason, that's ground zero. That's what the police and the Army are always looking at, and they're always flying circles around. Even the fire department is flying circles around the rocks in the ocean.
So what is your best guess? What are these things?
Well, 2,000 miles an hour, and like I said, it took me 6 years and 4,000 videos to calculate that speed, because I have tracking video. Okay. And I accidentally moved the camera to the left at the same time it was flying by, so I was able to track it for 1 mile and do the math at 60 frames. And then last week, Pentagon gave a report to Congress and said, hey, these things are going 2,000 miles an hour. And it's triggering the X-band on the car radar detector. I think they're watching my videos because I have a car radar detector hooked to my camera. And when these things fly by, it triggers the X-band and the K-band 8% of the time.
Ooh. So You think these things are? You think they got to be off planet or military? I mean, or both?
It's, God, if humans at 2,000 miles an hour at no sonic boom,
and no sound.
The thing is,
yeah.
They're worldwide. They're all over the world. People now are sending me videos over the world. They're all over YouTube. If you just know where you look at air shows, you find these things really easy at air shows, especially the Blue Angels. Really easy. And like I said, every single over 150 feet will get tagged. The tag is when these things fly up or fly by the helicopter. So anything, even an Earth drone, if you were to take an Earth drone, if I was to take an Earth drone right now and fly it up over 150 feet, these dragons, these UAPs will fly by, and I have all that video. Everything I tell you, I have the video for.
I wonder why. That's weird to me because you would think alien race, for one, you would think they'd fly by a few of them and they'd be good. Why would they need to keep doing it? So
exactly,
man,
I think they don't operate on assumptions. Just kind of like at the TSA, you go to the airport. They don't operate on assumptions. Everyone gets reconned. When you're in the airport, everyone gets reconned. If you walk out and come back in, they're going to check you again. And that's kind of like their math. And if you happen to notice, a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Avi at Harvard, he said, hey, we're being visited by these small drones.
Yeah.
They're reconning our planet. They're reconning every planet in the solar system, which I've been telling people. And he calls them dandelion seeds. Dandelion seeds. And I'm calling them dragons just because I thought they were dragonflies, and I don't have a better name yet. So, a lot of parallel connections here. Dr. Kaku was saying, Joe Rogan, hey, we're being visited. We have frame-by-frame video of these things. They're going in and out of the water, no sonic boom.
Yeah.
They're running on electricity. And I'm like, when he said frame-by-frame video, I don't know what he's referring to because I'm the only one with frame-by-frame video. I literally break down each frame. I copy and paste it all on one photo so you can see a trail of where it started and where it went.
Yeah.
I call it an interpolation. And I have 400 interpolations, and I'd have more if it wasn't so time-consuming. But I do have some engineers now around the world that are working on software to automatically create these interpolations. I do have one video of these UAP drones coming down high voltage lines right here in Marina Del Rey, 75,000 volt high voltage, within 10 inches of the wire. So the assumption is they had to be doing a charge and go. They were recharging via induction. So at this point, and it's not to mention all the stories in the past, how these UFOs hang around nuclear power plants.
Yeah.
I think they may be reconning the power plants, but I really think they're to fill up their tank. That's what I think's going on.
Yeah, I wondered sometimes. You see them also, you'll see them in lightning storms, electrical storms, and I wonder if they have a way of harnessing that.
Yes, big yes.
Yeah.
In theory, that's probably what Roswell, what blew the saucer out of the sky, though, was an extremely violent thunderstorm that night. Extremely violent, had people scared. They were locked in their homes. And then I think they were trying to recharge, and they underestimated a ridiculous thunder came along and believe it or not, blew them out of the sky. That's what I think really went down. I know some people think, we had an energy weapon, an EMP, but I don't know if we had that kind of EMP. We may have in 43 or 47. We may have.
Well, and there wasn't just one crash either. There was another crash not far from there. So
again, I just think it could be lightning really knocking these things out of the sky. And among all my library of dragons, I do 5 years ago, I do have a Black Hawk. Was a mile away from my camera, and just a lucky video, you would call it. But a dragon flew by, and I think he got shot by the Black Hawk, and he started to violently tumble in the air. And I recorded that, and I did an interpolation. And the interpolation looks nothing like all the others. The other ones are just an organized, uniform symmetry, a black image, dot, dot, dot. But this one that apparently got shot, tumbled, and it was fragmenting, it was just breaking up. But it was able to recover and fly away.
Yeah, I was going to say shooting at them may not be the smartest thing to do because, I don't know, even with the Roswell thing, we're lucky they didn't come back and say, hey, give us the bodies,
I've often thought that too, exactly. In other words, if you shot us down or if it was lightning, we still want our bodies back. I mean,
yeah,
kind of agree.
Kind of like the military, no man left behind kind of thing, And plus, why would they might say, hey, we're not leaving you animals with this technology, so give it up.
Not a chance. Yeah. No. That's a great point. That's very great. So this is what's been going on now. Just literally every day since the summer of 2017. I'm actually in my bedroom right now, just looking at the marina, 150 feet up in the air. I can probably see 80 square miles from where I'm standing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. But this is what's going on here. So every kind of a helicopter you can imagine, every single helicopter will get tagged. It doesn't matter what agency. They all get tagged. Even VIPs, like senators, the president's helicopter, everyone gets tagged by these dragons. And I have all that video.
And I wonder, there's got to be some kind of, you would think these guys are good, they know how to drive these things and nothing to worry about, but accidents happen as we've learned. It can't be safe, right? Them getting that close, especially with a helicopter that's whipping around trying to do circles and follow this thing. I could see
they do that.
Something bad happen.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. I do. In some of these videos, one video, they put it on Discovery Channel. This UAP practically was within a couple of feet of the rotor blades. It was eerie. It was, and then I have video of them behind the helicopter. And by the way, the people say, well, how do you know they're not bugs? It's because they only fly when there are helicopters. And bugs don't trigger the X-band or K-band on your car radar detector.
Well, yeah. It's been my thought that, these things are, maybe there's a mothership out there, and it's, like we send probes and stuff to other planets or to the moon. Maybe that's what they're doing there. I have a guest coming on tomorrow night who claims that there's a mothership type craft out there somewhere. It might be.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet against it. Very, very likely. And keep in mind, 1977, we sent Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 out into space with a message that says, "Hi, we're the people of planet Earth. This is where we live. Here's a map. Please come and visit us."
Yeah.
We did that. So, it's here. And if you happen to know, it was an eerie coincidence. 5 days before the launch of Voyager, astronomers got the wow signal. They call it the wow signal. They heard something in space and they wrote it down. And it's been a big mystery ever since. So these things probably knew we were about to launch Voyager, and they sent us a hello before we launched it. So there's clues all around us. There's clues here. Are they flying? I do have a video of, because I live right next to LAX, the airport, and I do have a video of a jet airliner taking off, and his engine blew out. It was a Delta flight 4 years ago, and but we don't know if it got too close to the engine. We don't know, but yeah, it's theoretically, if they're flying that close to helicopters, it's just a matter of, and then what makes it a little scarier, like I mentioned earlier, plane finder. In order to see the planes, you have to be flying with your GPS locator. It's the radio transponder. It has to be turned on, logically. So now, when these helicopters come in to chase these UAP Dragons, they turn their transponder off, which theoretically, you're driving at night. If all the cars on the road are driving at night, statistically, something's going to happen compared to if you had your headlights on or your GPS on.
Yeah.
extremely big deal. Just I give lectures at the Air Force Base on this. They're like extremely fascinated by this. I talk to many officers in the Air Force. They tell me amazing stuff, just amazing stuff. Yeah, we had a policy. I don't know if real quick. We had a policy in 1950 to 1960 for 20 years to shoot down a UFO at any cost. I know this because, like I say, I know these officers at the airport. To shoot one down at any cost. In 1975, they were talking about that policy. I don't know the name of it. I'll try to talk to the officer again, see if he recalls the Operation something, Operation Takedown. Who knows? But he said it was extremely costly experiment. Extremely. We lost a jet on the average somewhere in the world every day chasing UFOs.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
What they would do is we'd fire our rockets, and they would just turn them around and blow our jets out of the sky with our own rockets.
I've heard cases of where when they they'd power up and then take off, and the energy burst or something would shut down some of these jets, and they start falling.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course, the EMP, exactly. It's like, and then also I have enough video where I could tell you they're these small UAPs, these dragons. They're not only reconning Earth. That's their secondary function. Their primary function is to escort ships from A to B, or from dimension to dimension. I do have one video of a wormhole, the best wormhole video you have probably ever seen in your life, recorded by the Blue Angels, and a perfectly sunny day, blue skies. You could see a wormhole open right in front of the camera. Some dragons flew out, then a mothership flew out, flew up to the windshield, and they all left in the blink of an eye. But I know how to find them.
Yeah, well, in my lifetime, I've had some sightings of my own, and I've seen one of those triangle crafts, and I had others with me who've seen it too, so it wasn't just me. And and it disappeared, like it turned into just 3 orange globes in a triangle formation, and then it would reappear, and you'd see the whole craft again, and then it just took off. It was in the air for a while, and I thought, and I don't know. I have people tell me that, those are military, them ones. It might be, I don't know, but that's pretty amazing technology to blend in with the sky like that.
Of course it is. I looked into that orange tone, by the way, because it's extremely rare. Maybe once a year, one of these dragons will turn orange. And I looked into it. And long story short, and I'm pretty convinced they're running on electricity. I think they're pulling the helium out of the ocean, and plasma helium is orange. So
orange has been related to probably 3 of my sightings, and I've seen this big football stadium size craft come over one day, and this was in Columbia, South Carolina. And I had someone else who was there who thankfully came out just in time to see it. But it was glowing orange. It had 4 tubes, I think it was. Yeah, 4 tubes.
What's it like to see a craft, a mothership that big, so close? Is it a little frightening?
You know what? I thought it would be. I was excited. I was jumping up like a kid in a candy store. Just because there it was, and there was no sound. And it was really bright. If you looked up at it, it was bright. But if you didn't look up at it, you would have never seen it because the light didn't reflect down, which was really weird. And it had like a white light coming out of the back of it. And in between these orange tubes, you could see, you couldn't see the sky. So that told me that they were connected craft. But this thing, it floated over almost as slow as it just appeared out of nowhere. It just came right out of the sky. Like you talk about wormholes. It came out of a thunderstorm off in the distance. It just appeared out of nowhere. And I looked up, and there it was.
What year, what city, and what year was that?
That was in 2013, and it was in Columbia, South Carolina. West Columbia, South Carolina.
Wow. there any nuclear power plants within 20 miles of that?
We have. Oh yeah, we have. We got enough of those in this state. Let me tell you.
Wow.
So yeah, and the mistake I made is I didn't go right out and report it. I did call the airport, and they said they didn't have nothing on radar or whatever. But of course, I even called military base and asked them if they had anything, any kind of like test flight kind of thing going on. They just, basically hung up on me. I mean, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's to be expected. Unfortunately, there you go.
Yeah.
If you want, if you're feeling brave, you can call the Coast Guard. You can call the LAPD or the sheriff, the LA sheriff, and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing in Marina Del Rey? What are you chasing?" Just frank, just straight up. They'll probably give you the runaround, but nevertheless, you could at least say you tried. Put it on the record.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because in a couple of years, I really think these are going to become common knowledge. These UAP dragons. I mean, you'll be able to say, "Yeah, I even looked into it, and on this day I called this person, talked to this person, and they told me don't worry about it." But it's still going on. Nothing's stopping.
This particular craft was by, the size, the length of a pine tree. Well, put another one on top of that one, and there's about 2 pine trees up in the sky. And that's how close it was. I mean, I think that if I had got a rocket through it, I could have hit it. But
yeah.
But what's weird is all the noise I was making where I live. You go making noise, and boy, you're gonna be in trouble quick, right? So, but I mean, I was out there screaming at the top of my lungs, and not one person turned a light on, came out to see what was going on, which was really strange too. So, but I don't know of any missing time or any of that stuff. All I know is I saw a craft, and that sucker was huge. And
Was it about 12 midnight? Do you remember the time?
As a matter of fact, it was. My show ended. It's funny you say that. My show ended at midnight. I had a guest on, Robert Stanley. We were talking about UFOs and thunderstorms, go figure. And the show ended. I went out to throw some stuff in the dumpster. I was coming back. I stopped and went to light a cigarette. At the time, I smoked. I was dumb. And I happened to look up, and there it was. It was just, boom, right above me.
Wow. I think that was their way of saying thank you. You did a great job.
Yeah, well, I wish they would have stopped it. I wanted to be zapped up. I was like, hey, this is an opportunity. I mean, if I never come back, at least I know the truth now.
Well, the thing is, that's true, but then who would do your job? Who would get the information out?
Well, with their technology, I could probably broadcast right from the mothership.
There you go. Okay. Well, that's a good check mark. You never know.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Real quick, let me see. I'm looking at Plane Finder, and I see. Okay, it's just a tourism coming in. But just for the heck of it, if you want, we could do an experiment right now. I'll turn the camera. I'm just going to press record because the camera's already on. We could possibly do a live broadcast. And like I said, I have a 14-inch monitor.
Okay.
So this will only take about 30 seconds or so. All right, let me zoom in on them. I see them. Okay, I think this is a tourism. Yeah, if you looked on Plane Finder. Okay, I have them focused, landscape. I'm zoomed in. So the horizon is about 800 feet from left to right on the video. He's approaching the Jetty Rocks, which is the hot zone. So let's just, he's starting to turn. This is where, if it's going to happen, this is where it happens, right here. And when it does, I'll give out a holler.
Okay.
He's turning. I don't see anything. I'm turning on my radar just in case it does activate. Nope. Oh, shucks. How disappointing.
They probably know what you're doing.
Well, Usually they don't care, but tourism gets recon on a lower number compared to the military. They love reconning the military, but that's okay. It was a good, honest try there.
Yeah.
I'll look over the tape. I'll look over the tape tonight too, just in case I didn't, because they're not always that easy to see. I missed plenty. Again, 2,000 miles an hour is the speed of a bullet. I think a bullet's a little slower, but it's basically a small football. It's 2,000 miles an hour, just no 3,000 feet a second, no sonic boom. You don't see them all. Nobody can.
Well, yeah, and it's so quick sometimes that, I mean, you know, you like, did I just see something? You know, you think that, I mean, that's how quick it is.
Right. I mean, unless you're really informed and trained, you ignore it.
Yeah, or you have one that, I mean, it seems like some of these guys want to be seen. I mean, they put, like, for instance, the ones that I've seen, I mean, they were hanging around in the sky. They had to know that people were watching them, you know, and you know, they hang around, and they just hang around long enough to give you a tease. It's like, you know, here, have a little bit. You want more, but you can't get it. It's, you know,
Right.
So since that mothership kind of sighting, I've had 2 other sightings after that, but nothing like that. One, I was at a campground visiting somebody, and I happened, you know, I'm always looking up at the sky. I love looking up at the stars, and I seen what looked like a whole star formation start moving across the sky. I mean, I was like, oh my God, are all them stars moving? And it was like, so I think these things could sit in the sky, look like whatever they want to look like. In some instances, maybe clouds or stars, and you know, you wouldn't even know.
You wouldn't even know. Just like these dragons, they're purposely designed to blend in with the animal life or the insect life of that particular planet. In this case, they look like insects, or they don't really look like birds anymore. Really, just insects is what people, especially what really gives it away is because they're running on energy. They give off electrons. They give off like this plasma trail. And there's 2 trails, 2 short trails, approximately the length of the vehicle itself, the 10-inch vehicle. And you see that, you go, oh, that's an insect. There's its wings. It's got wings. But they purposely design it like that to fool the rest of us. They know humans are going to go, oh, that's an insect. They'll never figure out that we're here.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. But I also think they want to be known, they want to be seen, and that's why this is so repeatable right now. Marina Del Rey, it's just extremely repeatable. Yeah, and I can send you a video of any helicopter that you can imagine. News choppers, of course. The news chopper was just here yesterday, looking around the Jetty Rocks, which is, wow. He's just really showing his hands because. It's not normal to circle the ocean, the Jetty Rocks, and fly away. It's not normal.
Yeah, there's a lot of
unless you have a sophisticated camera, and they do. These news choppers have amazing cameras. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And then there's, you know, God knows how many other people are, you know, tracking this stuff, and we just don't know about it. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of amateurs out there who are capturing all kinds of stuff. You know, I have night vision goggles, and I'll tell you, sometimes when I got those suckers up in the sky, I could see, like one night I saw 2 objects up in space in the star area, you know, and one's chasing the other one. It's like almost like they were racing. And so I've seen some stuff. Maybe it's our Space Force. I don't know.
No, actually, I have video like that. I call them twin dragons. One's where there's 2 dragons at the same time that fly by. And I'm puzzled by that also. It's like, what are you guys doing? Are you coordinating some type of a recon? Are you just having fun flying around? I mean, are you trying to give me more video? I'm puzzled by that. Yeah.
I
Those-
am
that's like
too.
five-
I just wonder why they don't, I mean, are they trying to, is that their way of just like letting us know they're there? And I mean, but that ain't enough. I need more. I want to meet these guys, to be honest with you. I mean,
Well, a lot of people do. That's probably where it's going. That's probably where it's going, and it's going to happen a lot sooner than later. Apparently, it's a very serious issue. Not only are they sending every helicopter we have, they've sent 3 major research vessels, large research vessels, and they the first two came out together, and they stayed here for 9 months. 9 months measuring everything, and I recorded them. They were recording these dragons, and right before they left, they drove up to the jetty rocks, and they dropped the submarine in the water for 1 hour. And it floated around, and 1 hour later they pulled it out of the water. It was submerged.
ooh.
So they've dissected the jetty rocks inch by inch, above ground and underwater. It's been dissected. And then the third vessel that came along 2 years ago was the USS Gabriella Gifford. And they pulled up to the jetty rocks, and they stayed here all day. They weren't here for a couple of weeks. They stayed here all day.
Yeah.
They ran a bunch of tests. They got tagged a lot. So in the future, when you hear about these Navy ships, you look for the word Gabriella Gifford. Look for their report. Marina Del Rey.
Okay. And I wouldn't doubt if they must have some kind of bases, deep within the ocean. I mean, why are they diving in the water like that? Unless they have interest in our oceans too. I don't know, but.
Well, 30 miles north of me, off the coast of Malibu, you can see this on Google Map. There is a giant underwater hangar, 1 mile in diameter, right off the coast of Malibu, and it looks like somebody poured sand on it on purpose just to try to camouflage it. Any of your viewers can see this. Go to Google Map off the coast of Malibu, look for a giant round hangar.
I've seen that.
It's really,
Yeah.
you have.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a lot of people are talking about it. We're very puzzled by it.
Robert Stanley came on one night and was talking about that, and I think there was another guy. He used to be on Coast. The name's slipping my mind right now, but he was talking about it too. So I did go and look, and it's pretty damn interesting. I think that we got a lot that's in the ocean that's interesting, and I wonder how much they know that they're not telling us.
You can go on the assumption that they're telling us almost 1%. You can go on that assumption. So to answer your question, they're keeping the 99 for themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet you. And I guess, people have speculated, that some of these races or beings from out there have made deals or something with governments, and if they did over the people themselves, then I would not have a whole lot of trust in these guys. But I mean, they've been up there for a while. They've not done anything to us that I know of. I mean, how do you feel about abductions? What do you think about that?
I think it is happening. I can't say what number because we don't know how many have gotten taken and never came back. But I do think it is happening. Maybe you heard the Betty and Barney Hill is going to be remade. And actually, Obama is going to put the movie together. I don't know if you heard that.
I did not hear that, no.
You did not? Yeah, a couple months ago, he says, I'm going to redo the Betty and Barney Hill. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to be around. And it's like, don't be grabbing anyone who doesn't want to be grabbed.
Right, and that's kind of my thing too. It's like, I've told some abductees who have come on the show and told of their experience. I said, well, Don't you feel violated? I mean, they just came in, they take you. I mean, that's kidnapping. That's illegal on our planet, you know. And well, no, I don't look at it that way. And well, okay, well, but if they got you strapped up and you can't do anything, and they're doing all kinds of tests on you, I don't know. I wouldn't feel really good about that. Now, if they brought me up, we had a cup of coffee, we flew around a little bit, and I got to see, you know, the solar system a bit, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, no, precisely. We just don't know, but a lot of people are convinced that these are not nice guys. We might regret it later. And in which case, you see what's going on here. This is a win-win. If these are nice guys, and I have all these videos, I mean, then fine, we're ahead. But for whatever reason, if they turn against us, I do have a lot of videos that we could put into a supercomputer. We could figure out, get a lot of technical data, their acceleration, deceleration, how they turn, how they climb, their behavior. We could have, in other words, if we had to defend ourselves, we would have a beginning. We'd have a beginning. We wouldn't be standing around with our hands in our pockets. We could actually, so it's a win-win.
Well,
and
we might want to do that now just for the heck of it, because if things got twisted at that point, I have a feeling that they could make the planet go dark if they wanted to.
I would think pretty easy.
Yeah.
Very easy.
I mean, we're just a simple power grid. I mean, boy, it'd be so easy to just, boop, turn the lights out.
Well, if you remember the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still in 1952, they never actually said it. The power went out from 12 to 12:30. The term wasn't invented yet, but that was an EMP.
Yeah.
Wasn't invented, so they never said it. But that's people who wrote that story. They're way ahead of their time, or 100 years ahead of their time, and they wrote that in 52. So.
And then they can learn anything they want about us just by tapping into our satellites out there.
And that's another thing. We have a bunch of satellites. Within a couple of miles, I live next to 3 of the major industrial complexes. They all live right here next to LAX because they build jet airplanes and they push them on the runway and they leave. That's why they're in El Segundo. All these locations. So literally, El Segundo is 100 feet from LAX, and they push the planes onto the runway. So we have a lot of satellites. There's a lot of, if you were wondering why these dragons are here, they're reconning everything. They're reconning our choppers. I'm sure they're reconning the industrial complex. They're tapping into all the Spectrum satellites that we have, DirecTV.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's massive. There's a treasure of information within 3 miles of me in any direction. So, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got to be looking at, they probably tune into some of our programming, television stuff, and they probably think, what is wrong with these people? You know.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
of
so,
course.
you know, and who knows? I mean, you know, going back, I kind of feel like there's descriptions of maybe extraterrestrial type contact, even going back to the Bible and all that. I won't go crazy on that right now, but so I think they've been here for a long time, and they may have something to do with all it is, and you know, people better.
I do think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think they've been here a long time. Now, the only reason why I'm getting video now is because our cameras became decent. In 2015. We basically started carrying 1080 recorders. And that's what it really takes to see these dragons, 1080, but really 4K is the way to go. But until then, they were still flying around. We just didn't have any cameras. Just like for instance, the Hubble telescope and the James Webb, the new one. With the James Webb, people were going, oh my God, look at this. Look at these new solar systems. Look at these new planets. We never knew they were there before. Well, they were always there. We didn't have a camera to see it. Now we have cameras in our hands, our cell phones, to record these small UAPs. And you could be anywhere. You could live next to an airport, record a helicopter or a plane, Once it exceeds 150 feet, again, look for a fast, small dot. That will be the dragon.
Oh, you know that
And then,
triangle that I seen. We took pictures of it with the cell phone, and at the time she had an iPhone, good iPhone. And when we went to go look at the pictures, that thing wasn't showing up in the pictures, which was absolutely bizarre.
wow, yeah. And by the way, if any of your listeners, they can listen to this show, check me out on Custodian File on YouTube. And you can see all these. I have a lot. I have like over 150 videos posted, but it's not even 1% of my Dragon library. That's how much is going on. It's just every day I get new video.
Okay, because I went to the link that you had sent me, I got a page with it had some videos on it, but I couldn't figure out a way to go to any other pages or anything.
Okay, yeah, I gave you like a VIP.
Okay.
But no, you can ask all you want. Just email me and say, hey, Robert, can you send me Black Hawk videos, Apaches, the Sheriff? I mean, unlimited. Now
incredible.
What's new is the Navy. The Navy is really, really taking this very serious now, and they're sending in their Seahawks. The Seahawks are about as good as we can make. They're slightly larger, and I'm not a military guy, but they're slightly larger than Black Hawks. I do know the technology allows them to hunt submarines. That's how amazing they are. So the Seahawks have been coming in. I posted a few videos. And now when they come in with a gunner. He has his door open in the back, and he has his hands on a Gatling gun. And so they're stepping up their game. I don't know where it's going to go from there. I'm shocked that they would have they're flying over Marina del Rey, 5,000 boats, and there's some guy with his hand on trigger of a Gatling gun. I don't know what the next story is.
I don't either. Robert, hang on with me for a couple minutes. I want to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back, and you and I will talk a little bit more. If anyone has any questions, you can send those to me through the portal at www.lastfrequency.com. All right, lastfrequency.com. Or you could try to put it in the YouTube chat. I could try to get it from there. It depends. So it'll probably work out tonight. With that, my guest, he is Robert. Is it Shiepe, right?
Shiepe, yeah, clinical pharmacist. I invented the first mail-order pharmacy in 1986 in the United States, and I specialized in infectious disease.
Oh.
So back then, we were offering cutting-edge technology. I was consulting with the smartest infectious disease doctors in the country, and I came up with some new theories on how to treat patients. And the doctors agreed with me, and they adopted, and it turned out to be the right answer. And a lot of people are still with us, and they're alive, doing very well, just because of the cutting technology.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, one night I'd like to get you on, maybe on a Monday night, and we could talk about that. That would be great.
That'd be fine, yeah. I mean, I look back and I still shake my head. We talk about one of my patients, the world's best mentalist, Glenn Falkenstein. The world's literally the best mentalist and the best psychic on earth that will ever live, too. That's how friggin' amazing he was. And he told me about these UFOs also. And he was a code breaker in the Air Force 1948 to 52 in Iceland. And he broke all the codes. He didn't break some of the codes. He broke them all, and he did it within minutes.
Wow.
And I think it's still considered extremely top secret, what the work he did. But we were best friends, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
That's right. All right, Robert, hang on with me for a moment. We're going to take this break, and then we will return. UAPs, folks, you know, the cat's out of the bag. It's not a matter of, are they real? We know. I mean, I've known, but now all of you know. You know, even the government that has been hiding this for how many decades is coming out, and which is kind of weird. It's almost like they're saying, you know, we can't hide this anymore, so we better start talking a little bit anyways. Or maybe they're setting us up for the false alien invasion. I don't know. We'll see. My guest again, Robert Shiepe, and you want to go to his website and check it out. When we get back, he'll give it out again. And, you know, you want to go check out those videos. They're awesome. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go away.
Columbia.
Excellent, excellent.
Number one means you're always on top. Your number one radio.
You're listening to the VARA Network. Hey, frequencies of all walks of life. Keep up with all things TLF radio by joining our mailing list. Go to the bottom of the homepage and fill in the form. You'll get everything from guest info and show info and other important station-related information. So sign up now.
Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
You heard me. Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
For all your bumper sticker needs, just click on the Crazy Ass Bumper Stickers banner located at the foot of my website, www.lastfrequency.com. That's Crazy Ass Bumper Stickers and more.
You're making me crazy.
I want to talk to you about something very important for a moment here, folks. That is clean drinking water. Yeah, you can survive without it for about 3 days. How do you know yours is even pure? You don't, but I'll tell you what is. This is the ultimate water filtration solution. It's called Alexa Pure Pro. It is a groundbreaking gravity-fed water filtration system that outperforms all the others for less. I personally stand behind the Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system because I use it.
This is
The last frequency.
you are the resist.
Welcome to the night. From the Midlands of South Carolina, you're listening to The Last Frequency with your host, Mike Vera. To get questions directly to Mike Vera, you can call in or message Mike on our website, www.lastfrequency.com. Now, here is Mike Vera.
With you. You'll find us over on YouTube tonight and on the VARA network and on the Paranormal Radio app and whole bunch of other places. You know, you want to know all those places for some reason, maybe because you don't want to go to the mothership of it all over at lastfrequency.com. Well, you're going to have to go to lastfrequency.com and at least click on the page Places to Listen. And you'll see all those places. That being said, I have a fantastic guest with me tonight. He is Robert Shiepe. He's a pharmacist, inventor, and a UAP investigator, and I've been watching some of those videos today, and they are outstanding. No, you know, there's a couple are a little tough to see. You got to really look, but then there's others. There's no mistaking it. Absolutely no mistaking it. And yeah, so again, folks, if you have questions, and I'll even, I guess we could do it. If you wanted to call in, you could. 803-392-4566. Or you can send a question through the portal. That's your choice, all right? So let's get back to it here. And don't forget, if you like what you got here and you want to help out, number one, subscribe to the channel, please. We need to get it up there, get some more subscriptions here. So subscribe to the channel, and please like the video if you like it. And, well, tell people about it. Share the link. Do all that good stuff for me. I appreciate it. If you've got it within your means, by all means, you can help out by going to the website, lastfrequency.com, and hitting that donate button. You know, that helps too. I fund all this, but I'll tell you what, you can certainly help ease some of the burden, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate those of you who helped out during that 2 weeks I had to go to New York and blah, blah, blah. And so thank you again for that. Robert, we are back.
Yeah.
Super. Yeah, so I guess where do you think that all this research is going to take you? What do you expect to eventually get answers? Do you think in our lifetime we'll have answers, more answers?
Absolutely, in our lifetime. I think in the next year or less, a lot of information will be volunteered. If you notice right now, Congress is really on board with this. They're trying to investigate it as fast as possible. They're, like I said, they're giving us 1% of the knowledge they have, but they're telling. What was it, a couple months ago? I forget the congressman, but he said, "Lock your doors." You know, everything's fine, but lock your doors. After he came out of a UFO hearing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forget who it was, but you know, that's powerful stuff. I can kind of tell you confidentially, like I told you, I'm an infectious disease pharmacist, and I'm still friends with many infectious disease doctors. And you know, these doctors, they have VIP patients. They tell them stuff. They tell them incredible information. And I just spoke with one of these doctors recently, and he reached out and says, "Hey, you know, your videos are getting a lot of attention, and the government's taking it very serious." And I said, "Well, how do you know that?" He goes, "Well, I have a patient. I won't tell you what agency in the government, but they are freaking out about it, and they're very concerned. They're just very concerned." So my point is, I think they're going to be they're going to be volunteering a lot more information soon. It's going to probably be a repeat of all my research. Again, for instance, flight characteristics, how they activate the K-band, the X-band, how they're giving off sound. 8% of the time they give off this tap, clicking sound. You can clearly hear it, especially when you slow down the video. It becomes even louder. And it's just, again, Marina Del Rey. It's unknown, but it's a hot zone in the world right now.
Okay.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, it seems like everywhere is becoming kind of hot. Not to lessen that, but I mean, sightings are everywhere now, and it's like you say, everybody's got a camera on them, which wasn't the case quite some time ago. So, we're getting a lot. They're right; they can't hide it anymore, And so
No.
it's no wonder they're speaking up a little bit about it.
Yeah, no, people say, hey, aren't you scared or concerned? It's like, well, it's not my drone.
Yeah.
And they're all over the world. They're all over the world. It's not mine. So I don't know what can I do here? Just stop posting video? It won't stop them from flying.
I don't know how I would react had I ever met a being like, I look to the right and there's a gray standing there or something, I don't know how I'd react. I guess it would be a little terrifying at first. But I thought that a craft being so close would be too, but it wasn't. It was amazing, and it was like I say it's like being addicted to heroin or something. I don't know what that's like, but it's got to be something like, oh my God, I want more. And that's kind of how it feels. Once you get a taste like that, you want answers. Who were they? Why were they there? Why me? Why over me? Why so close? It's almost like at first it was going really slow. Like, I don't know, like people were on it taking a tour. And, hey, look, there's one of those human beings now. Look at and I probably looked like some primitive caveman running under him. Ooh,
Yeah. Probably, but they probably do that from planet to planet too. But I really think they were just saying thank you. That was a great show. They could see the future. So the show you did, they could see 5 years the benefit of that show, and they came by to say, they're really pleased.
It was a really good show, and it did get a lot of listens. So,
Right.
Robert Stanley's a popular guy.
Yeah, no, he is. So this is what's current here. I mean, I can't stress it enough. Yeah, if anybody has questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I've got one here from Mariano, or I think it's Mariano. It says, of the 500 plus UAP reports by service members in the recent years, how many describe remarkable flight characteristics?
Wow, that's a great question. I would think pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Because when you're cruising at 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 miles an hour, and you're doing right angle turns, that's pretty consistent. I mean, yeah, can they be stationary? Yeah, they could be stationary, but generally speaking, they don't do that. They're moving, they're hauling, they've got places to go, and that's really the more norm. I actually kind of, even though you saw a stationary mothership, generally speaking, I'd be really concerned about the psychology of that. Because just like the movie Independence Day, that's basically their Independence Day. Their attitude was, we don't care if you can see our motherships because we're going to throw some fire down. So I'd be concerned. I'd like to see.
I say mothership, but when I think about it, that one that was in Phoenix, Arizona. Now that, to me, I mean, what was it, 2 miles wide? Now that, yeah. I mean, I think they come even bigger than that. So what exactly is a mothership? I don't know. All I know is this thing was huge. It was not no little disc. This sucker, I think, would have fit right on a football field, just fit. That's how big it was. So
I would think anything over. I think the 30-foot ships are probably like a one pilot. But basically, yeah. How do you define mothership? I don't know, anything more than 10 people. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be 500 or 1,000 occupants. But yeah, anything more than 10 people is as a mothership. It's a big ship.
Believe me, I was hoping to see some kind of beings or something through windows, or there was no, it was just, these things, picture cigars, 4 cigars flying through the sky, and they're glowing orange, or like a fluorescent orange. I mean, I didn't see windows or anything like that, no sound, no reflection down on the ground. And I went very slow, and then as soon as it got over the treetops, it just vanished. It blinked like I don't know, blink of an eye, just gone.
Yeah, that's a serious message. It's a very positive. It's a very positive message. You're doing something right. You know, they're like showing up to saying, look, we can't give you gold or tell you the future, but we're really impressed with your work. That's what they're telling you.
Well, you know, I would be excited if they just would give me an interview. I would put me at, you know, boy, the listeners would really show up then. And, well, then so would the Men in Black probably, too. So I probably wouldn't be around very long.
Well, just tell them, hey, it's not my ship.
Yeah, right. Let's say, yeah, but you know too much, and how dare you go live with something like that? I wouldn't like. I wonder if you did say you had an extraterrestrial come into the studio, you probably wouldn't last 5 minutes before they kick the door down. Shut your power off, kick the door down.
Pretty much. Once they knew it was real, oh yeah,
yeah,
the phone would go dead. The phone would go dead, the power would go out, and then they'd kick your door down.
Or they would call it a big hoax, and then they'd come here secretly after the show and go and grab me. Who knows? The vans would be pulling up, though. I could almost guarantee it.
Yeah, they drive those big, God, what are those Mercedes vans? Those big vans. I forget the new term of them, but the bigger ones where you can stand up in them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
black and white.
He follows up to his question. He says, what is the extent of the UAP's technology? Like in your videos, what have you detected that would say they're highly advanced technology is what he's asking.
I would say, yeah, great question. I would say, again, their speed. We know we're sure about the speed now because the Pentagon confirmed my data, 2,000 miles an hour on these small drones, these Dragons. And again, they're giving off radio frequency because they're triggering the K and the X band. They go in and out of the water. That's why the Coast Guard chases will hover over the ocean. They'll hover for an hour, 2 hours over one location in the ocean because they can see them going in and out of the water. And again, at these speeds, and it's quite possible they can go even faster, but I think they know my camera would not be able to record them, so I wouldn't have any video, and they want the video to get out there. Yeah. There's some evidence of telepathy. Sometimes I do say, fly by now, and they do.
Well, it's funny. That night that I saw that big craft, I was walking, after I walked to the dumpster, I said, boy, wouldn't it be great? I said this in my head. Wouldn't it be great to see a UFO? Because I saw the lightning storm off in the distance. And I'll be damned, there it was. So, yeah, there's something to that. Well, that's what you wish for.
The telepathy thing is very real, extremely real. Like I said, I had a good friend. He was a gifted telepath. Which is a whole show in itself. It's a whole show. It's amazing. I look back on the people I've met and what I've accomplished. I'm amazed by it. I'm amazed. And now this is going on, and this is every day. There's no reversing it. There's no stopping it. It is what it is. You can't. This isn't something you can push a button and delete it and it goes away. Again, they're ubiquitous. People are sending me video from all over the planet. And I encourage people to start recording aircraft and build your Dragon library. It gets easier and easier.
I feel bad for all the people who, through time, who, were called crazy over this when they say, oh, UFOs, or they, and, here it is. What was once a big conspiracy theory is now fact. But now we want more information. The crafts are real. I mean, I never doubted they weren't. Now I want to know who's in them. Who's controlling those things?
Well, these Dragons, they're 10 inches because I recorded one flying past a high voltage line, and I used the telephone pole as a size reference. That's how I know. Now, what makes it, you want to know about the technology of these things.
Yeah.
Now, this gets real. This is where it gets hard. When they're parked, they're about 1 inch. So they expand. Within 1/3 of a second, they expand from 1 inch to 10 inches. And if you look at your physics books, F equals ma, the faster you go, the more mass you create. So that's probably what we're witnessing. I have video of that. That's how I figured it out. I watched the video, and I see them sitting still. They're behind somebody's ankle, and when they take off, they expand to 10 inches. But that's probably, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's probably too advanced. I think really we're still, Mike, for the most part, this is still UFO, UAP 101. We're trying to explain that they are here. They're here, and it's happening. And the evidence is all around. And you can record them yourself, or you can watch my channel, Custodian File. You can ask questions. And I know there are people out there, they're like, no, Dr. Robert, this is, you're wrong. There's got to be bugs. You know, they say, if there's a bug close enough to the lens, it looks like it's going extra fast. And yeah, that doesn't really hold water anymore because it's too predictable. I can predict when they'll fly by. They only fly by with helicopters, and they trigger the radar detector. So, you know, the bug theory was good 5 years ago, but it is what it is. And like I said, if somebody's listening and they have a friend at the LAPD or law enforcement, Coast Guard, Homeland Security, just call them and say, what are you guys chasing in Marina Del Rey? It's real simple.
And
they don't want to tell you.
What will they tell us if we ask them that, do you think?
They'll just say you got the wrong phone number.
Yeah. They'll say, what's your location? We'll send the guys with the white coats, you know.
Yeah, but they say, you're sadly mistaken. And for what it's worth, Homeland Security, they do show up a lot in their helicopters, so I'm starting to think they're organizing this whole thing, orchestrating it. As far as, do we send in the Army, do we send in the Coast Guard, do we send in the Navy? I think they're orchestrating a lot of it. So actually, they'd be the ones to call. Yeah. Nobody ever thinks of that. Like, what agency, in other words, who are the UFO police in America?
It would have to be the Air Force and the Navy, I suppose, right?
Well,
water and air.
Officially, based on the radar evidence, it's Homeland Security.
Okay.
And then now the
well,
other
yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah. They now they're probably doing their own independent research, the Air Force and the Navy, but more or less, if Homeland Security calls the Navy and says, "Will you fly by?" they're obligated to fly by and look around.
Yeah.
And that's where we are, and it's nonstop. It's nonstop. It's a daily predictable activity. And I encourage people. But if you have some extra time, look at air shows. Air shows. They love the Blue Angels. They love going to air shows, the Thunderbirds. Watch the air shows in different cities. Speed through them. If you want, look for my logo. I've already time-stamped where you can find the dragons. I've already time-stamped everything,
nice.
So it's easy.
Yeah.
Chicago is big for UAPs. By the way, talking about Chicago, a couple months ago, the pilot with these balloons, these second and third balloon, the Chinese balloon, we shot it down and we missed it with the first missile. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And our missile missed the balloon. And right before he shot it down, the pilot said, "Hey, this is a black octagon balloon, black octagon object." Well, because of my research 5 years ago, I found that object. I found a black octagon over Chicago, and they were flying with the Blue Angels. I was just watching Blue Angel video, and this thing flew up to the Blue Angels, and they recorded it and they posted it. But they didn't know they posted the octagon. They just posted their air show. So I said, what a coincidence. I found a black octagon 5 years ago, and now they said they shot one down a couple months ago over the same airspace in the world. I don't. As a matter of fact, I was just reading the news last night Congress was saying, we really don't know what we shot down, and we're not sure if it was a UAP or not. So they're starting to pedal backwards a little bit on this. That's just my opinion. I don't think it was a balloon. The first one was a balloon. You could have just spent $2 and shot a bullet in it and would have floated to the ground. But, you know, they're going to do what they're going to want to do. If they want to shoot missiles, they can. So their technology, but as far as these technology goes, like I said, I think we hit them with an EMP, but it flew off. It probably gave them a concussion, gave their motherboard a concussion, but it did fly off. And I do have some other video that suggests that we did capture. We did capture one. I do have video that highly suggests that we captured a high-value package, and they flew it to a nearby naval base, just an hour from Los Angeles. And then the Part 2 video suggests that when they opened the container, the UAP Dragon flew out and returned to origin, which came back to Marina del Rey, and it was being chased by 4 Black Hawks, and the Black Hawks were frantically flying in circles over Marina del Rey, trying to recapture this dragon, and I have that video. So, do we have one in? I think if we have one in captured, I mean, we're not going to hold on to it long. I think they can easily escape. But the fact that we could give one a concussion, I don't know, that was 5 years ago. Maybe our technology's gotten a lot better. Yeah. Maybe it hasn't. But the Black Hawk that did shoot the dragon, he kind of knew he hit it because he flew toward my camera looking for it.
Ooh, okay.
So that was 5 years ago. Maybe we have even better EMPs now.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I don't think shooting at these things is a really good idea. You'd be better off trying to communicate with them because, okay, you knock one of our crafts out of the sky. Well, now we're going to knock one of your power grids down. How you like that? You want to play? I don't think we want to play with them.
No, and I would not underestimate them for a second. Not for a second. I know they've been friendly and they don't appear they've done anything harmful yet, but I wouldn't provoke them. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, not when they can shut down anything we have, nuclear, missiles, period, power grids, who knows what. I don't care how much you think you have over them. It's obvious that they are far, far advanced, and we've not even seen the tip of the iceberg of what they probably have. So
that's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
We probably have only seen 1% of what they can do. Yeah, pretty much, and I think it all comes down to they figured out how to utilize high voltage electricity. High voltage being in the hundreds of millions, maybe a couple of billion volts. And that's their advantage. Not to mention, I mean, their advanced knowledge of mathematics and physics, of course. But
oh yeah, it's got to be so. I mean, my God, some speculate. Oh, they've been around thousands or millions of years more than us. I don't know. All I know is that boy, they could do things we can only dream of.
They can probably even self-replicate. So a mothership would send one dragon to a solar system, and that one dragon would go to the waters. For instance, in the ocean here, we have basically 115 elements. There's like every element you could think of is in the ocean. So they can capture whatever element they need. They have unlimited electricity. You can take that recipe and self-replicate because you can make any element you want. So that's probably on the level they operate on. And then once they self-replicate, then they can repeat the process. Within a short period of time, have hundreds or thousands of dragons on any solar system. There's probably in the millions on Earth. There's probably millions of them flying around just because there's so many random videos capture these dragons by mistake. There's a lot of them. We don't see it. We don't see it. You kind of picture like a war zone.
Yeah.
You You hear cannon, you hear gunshots, you hear cannons. You don't see anything. But these bullets are in the air.
You know, there's something else that has been talked about often in the past. I think the first place I heard it was on the Art Bell show back when he was around. And it was these rods. And people would take video and slow it down or pictures. And you see like these rod kind of things just soaring through the air. They're so fast you don't see them with the naked eye. But they show up in photos and stuff, and I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's very real, whatever it is. And you know,
I can speak to a little bit of that, Mike. I have an emergency backup camera I keep on my roof, and once in a while I'll check it. If a VIP chopper flies over my roof, like the Navy or a Black Hawk, then I'll check my roof camera to see if I caught a dragon flying by over my roof, and it usually works. So I'm using two different cameras and recording the same video, but my roof camera does pick up these rods.
Yeah,
they are. They seem to be associated with UAPs, and I have an interpolation of a rod too. I mean, I'll send it to you after the show.
Thank you.
It's a good one. I showed it to some investigators out there. They were really impressed with the interpolation, and all in all, they're impressed with it. But again, in fairness, a lot of people are like, no, Robert, these are insects. And that's fine, because 35 years ago, Mike, they told me, you can't open a mail order pharmacy. It's impossible. It's never been done. We've never heard of the concept. It will not work. It cannot be done. I said, okay, well, thank you for your help. But you're not a pharmacist, and you don't really understand when it comes right down to it. You don't understand what's going on. So I didn't listen to it. And now the mail order business in the United States is $900 million a day. So I get it. But a lot of people are saying, no, Robert, these are insects. They have to be insects. That's okay. I respect that. But I think in a year, less than 2 years, people are going to be changing their mind. They're going to be watching this show, and they're going to go, Mike, you were right.
Oh, well, it's just like the with the night vision. You know, some people say, oh, that's just bats flying up high in the sky. And it's like, you show me a bat that can go as fast as these things are going, and I want that bat because...
Well, you know what? You bring up a great point. There is no such video. Yeah, if you say, no, show me a real video of a bat being released, or show me a real video of a bug that's lab tested flying in front of a camera, those videos do not exist. And if they do exist somewhere, they clearly look like a bug.
And on top of that, I mean, it's easy with the technology we have today to look. They could analyze a video and they could tell how fast an object's going. And obviously, these objects are going much faster than any bug or any bat would be going. So,
far, and by far. And some people, you know, it doesn't hurt my feelings. They go, oh no, this is CGI. I mean, you know, you're wasting your time. And I'm like, guy, you know, if I could only talk to you, because I'm literally talking to you on my flip phone. I'm not a computer, and I'm
I had a flip phone.
I know.
Hey, I went 10 years without a phone up until, I don't know, a couple years ago or a few years ago, I guess now. I went back to having a phone, but I went without it for a while. It was nice, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like the 80s, the 70s and the 80s.
It was, but then, you know, you can't even get landlines really anymore. I mean, it's so expensive because so few people do it. You know, people think they have landlines, but it's through the cable company, and when the cable goes out, your phone goes out. So that's not the same thing. But
right? No, it's not.
Yeah.
So let's take another question here.
All right. Let's see. Joe says, how many UAPs involve detections by multiple sensors, including satellite or other space-based systems, does your guest know?
I could take an educational guess, because how did they ever figure out they were here? That's a great question. how did the government ever figure out they were flying around Marina del Rey? And it had to be because of our new thermal satellites that went online in 2015. And basically, it took them a year or two, but they were like, hey, they're looking at basically the LA basin, and they're like, what are these thermal objects flying around Los Angeles at this rate of speed? What is going on here? And I think that's how they figured it out. It wasn't based on ground radar, because radar is being thrown away now. They're using GPS radio transponders for everything. But it's the thermal satellites that see these things flying around. The question is, why Marina del Rey? Because when you look on Plane Finder and you look for clusters of helicopters, it's only Marina del Rey in the United States. Clusters of helicopters are not occurring in other cities. So let me get, and not to mention, why would the government send two major research, or three, including the USS Gabriella? There's something big going down here. Something big, Mike.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, some people, like one guy writes in here and says, I agree. He thinks that they're setting us up. Why tell the truth now, right? Why are they giving this information now after so long keeping it under wraps? And he indicates that, well, maybe again they're getting ready for some kind of false alien invasion kind of thing. And I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't know. I think it's bigger than that.
It is bigger than that, but I wouldn't put it. They'll make an attempt, a false flag, like, oh no, run for your lives, lock yourselves in the house. And I'm sorry to say, you might even hear of a couple of tragic plane crashes, and they'll blame it on these aliens, these dragons. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see that. That's kind of how it goes. If you want to fight with somebody, you throw the murder weapon in their hand, right? I guess was kind of saying.
I know.
Yeah.
Kind of, and it happens so much it becomes predictable, typical and predictable. It's unfortunate. So yeah, when you hear about these aliens have become dark and there are enemies and you better lock yourself in the house. I would question what you're hearing.
Don?
I'm not going to.
Don's listening and says that Custodian Files YouTube channel has some of the best foots of dragons I've seen. So.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. I appreciate that, Don. Actually, I think you're right. It really is some amazing good stuff. I have a new viewer. He's an engineer. He just created a new software. So instead of interpolating, where you copy and paste, say, 20 or 25 frames, his software now shows the tracking. So the dragon comes in, and it stays on the trail, and then you could see it go from left to right, and it shows you in real time how fast they're traveling. And it's a little scary because these are a blink of an eye. Everything is a blink of an eye. A blink of an eye is basically a third of a second, and these things travel a third of a second in and out of my frame. So that's why we need to be friends with them. We don't.
Well, yeah. I'm sure that they in a sense, I'm sure they get a kick out of us trying to chase them with our, with our helicopter, no less. I mean, my God, that's the last thing I think you want to chase them in is a helicopter. That's just, those things go down easy.
Very, very easy. The helicopters, put it this way, helicopters can go up to 150, but the average one looking here is doing 50. And they're doing 2,000 miles an hour. So that's 40-to-1 ratio, which means if you're traveling at 1 mile an hour and a car goes by you at 40 miles an hour, you're never going to catch that car. And that's what this is. This is the same ratio.
Well, yeah, and if I was on that helicopter, I'd be telling the pilot, hey, what if this thing powers up and we lose, our computers and everything goes down, and I'd be thinking that way. Let's watch it from a distance and leave it alone. That's
I think right. I think at the very least, Mike, they should volunteer and tell these pilots there's a tiny possibility you're chasing a real UFO. You're flying at risk. We'll pay you extra, or if you don't want to go, it's understand you're not going to be fired or anything. I mean, I think we need to be honest with the pilots.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've talked to pilots, and they've told me, that they've seen all kinds of stuff, but, you don't report it because, before you know it, you're not flying anymore.
Hopefully that changes. That's not helping humanity. We're not getting anywhere.
Well, I think it is changing a bit now. I think it's getting where pilots can report these things, and I don't know if all of them are because they're probably still hesitant and thinking, yeah, they tell us we can report it, but if we do, is that going to be? You just don't know.
No, we don't. There's a lot. Again, we only know 1%.
Yeah.
99% is being withheld.
All right.
It is what it is. It's being withheld. Yes.
TJ says, is NASA involved in any way with studying these UAPs?
That's a great question. You would have to assume yes, they are. You would have to assume because the ATIP program was a Dr. Travis was in charge. He worked with NASA, so of course they're highly interested in this. Highly, NASA wants to know, among other things, they want to know what black holes are, and they want to know what time travel is. Those are the two priorities that they have: UFOs, time travel, and black holes. And that's basically what UFOs. All UFOs time travel by accident. They don't mean to, but when you operate on billions of volts, you accidentally time travel, and they've got it down to a science where they could arrive at their destiny in a correct manner.
How do you think? First off, when the absolute truth does come out, if whether it's a year or 5 years from now, when it does come out. How do you think, and I'm kind of rephrasing the question and come from a listener, but how do you think it's going to affect society as a whole, if we're even still here when this happens, the way things are going?
Wow.
Yeah.
I do think the first couple of days of the first week, a lot of people are going to be in shock. I was scared for the first 100 days. For the first 100 days, I was scared. It's like, this is not supposed to be happening. They're flying too close. They're supposed to stay 20 miles away from us. And so I expect the first 100 days people to be apprehensive, very nervous, of course. And then it will start to die out because unless there's some false flags and some unusual accidents start to happen, then they're going to blame it on these UAPs and then it will all be artificial fear from that point forward.
Yeah.
But if you just let it run its course, after 100 days, people will go, okay, what else you got? All right, so they're here. What else you got? Let's go get some coffee, go to lunch. That's so it can go on any, but you can expect you can expect this to go in an artificial bad way for a little while at least.
Yeah. I think you're going to have groups. There's going to be pockets. Some are going to, be like, hey, the gods are here, and they're going to be worshiping the whole thing. And others are going to say, oh, the demonic entities have arrived. Light your torches and, charge. And then you just, you just hope that, I don't know, I think they're that far advanced where I don't think they're going to let, that kind. They got to know that, right? And that's probably why they're not landing and all that stuff. But they've got to know, hey, these people are a bit unstable. We better, It's not that we'll hurt them; they're afraid that we'll hurt ourselves.
Of course,
maybe,
and we and of course we probably will. But you remember the 1942 LA invasion, UFO LA invasion, Battle of LA?
Yeah.
Okay, so it took me forever to figure that out, but I recently came up with a theory, and this is what was going on. That was what was going down. It was basically over the center of LA, Culver City, California, or just West LA. We were doing, back in 1942, we were experimenting with this new technology with uranium, nuclear energy. And we were doing our share of experiments here in LA. And now my theory is something was about to go extremely wrong, and they showed up, and they parked in the sky for 1 hour, February 25. They parked from 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, and they neutralized the threat. They neutralized the uranium. Because that's logically the only reason why they would do that, put on a show like that. I think they got us out of trouble. They're watching over us. And I have heard reports, again, from officers in the Air Force that they are watching over us. I heard an amazing story a couple weeks ago where 2 KGB agents were talking to this Air Force officer in America, and they were all interested in UFOs, and they were saying, look, these aliens are definitely watching over humanity, 100%. And that's being repeated over and over. I think when they shut down our missile bases in Montana or Nebraska, I think they saw something bad about to go down, and they were trying to help us out.
It's like parents, It's like, I'll buy you the BB gun. The first time I see you misuse it, I'm taking it away from you, all right? And,
Thank you.
And they come out and they slap his hand and take it and say, what did I tell you about shooting your sister?
Thank you. Precisely. Exactly. And I think that's what's going on here. And so I welcome that. If they're trying to just watch over us and they're trying to help us evolve forward, I think let's do it, because I want the future to happen for all of us quickly. I want it to happen. I don't want to just stay stuck in the mud forever here. Let's move forward. What's the advantages? Faster airplanes, fly to New York to London in an hour. Better medicine, real cures.
That would be great. Flying overseas, getting somewhere like that in an hour would be fantastic. I was looking at flights to like certain places, like if you were going to fly, I don't know, to South Korea or something like that. I think it was like 29, 30 hours. Who the hell wants to be in the air that long? I mean, I've never flown personally, so I think I'd go nuts.
Most people would. It's not an easy thing to do. It's one of the main reasons why I don't travel a lot, because I just don't want to sit in an airplane that long. But that's the benefits here. We become friends with these dragons. We say, look, okay, how do you do this? How do you fly this? They'll show us. Well, the first they'll say, you're going to need better batteries. You need a lot better batteries. So you're going to have to make your airplanes out of electric jet engines. And they'll show us what to do. They're not going to teach us what they know, but they'll help us make faster airplanes. That's a start.
If they really want to help us out, they could bring on the teleportation. That would be even better.
Well, they would say, hold on, pump your brakes on that one.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
Also, with higher voltage, you can take better images, better MRI in medicine. So you can take a more accurate photo, a remarkable photos. So that's where medicine would get better too. Faster sequencing of DNA, so we can make what we want much faster. Probably, theoretically, they can just make you a little computer in your kitchen that can make any type of medication you need right there in front of you. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want us to have.
Yeah, like that Star Trek thing. What's wrong? They come in, they do a little laser over him, and, he's healed. He's all better again.
There you are.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, I know we can.
I say we welcome them. And then if for whatever reason, if humanity says we don't want you here anymore, okay, then we tell them to leave. But we're already telling them to leave before they technically get here. Again, we sent them that invitation in 1977. We told them to come here.
Yeah.
So who does that? I send you, Mike, I send you an invitation. Hey, I'm having a big party in 30 days from now. I want you to show up. And you go through the expense and you show up here. And I go, oh, I changed my mind. You can't come in. Who does that?
Yeah, right.
That's what we're doing.
You know, we set off atomic bombs. That kind of gave them waved to them as well, I'm sure.
That got their attention.
Oh, yeah.
Because atomic energy can generate extreme high voltage, and then some of that gets carried over to the next dimension, and it messes up their time clock, in a matter of speaking.
Yeah, and I'm sure they don't like that. It's like, oh, the kids are at it again. Don't make me come down there. It's like, well,
no.
Robert, we're getting near the end here. What I'd really like to do is give you the floor before we run out of time to get out anything else that you'd like. And I want to thank you so much for being here. You've been a very pleasant guest tonight. I've enjoyed talking with you, and I really would love to do this again, both on the UAP topic and definitely on the pharmaceutical topic. I wouldn't mind maybe a Monday night off of YouTube in doing that, and we do that one on the station and of course on Rumble, because then we could talk about more things.
I could tell you, but believe me, I can't be as open when it comes to the pharmaceutical world. I can't volunteer as much as I can with UFOs because there's UFO Big Brother, and then there's Big Farm Big Brother.
Okay. All right.
And the Big Farm people are serious.
Yeah, well, you know what? And I don't doubt that. Thank you for at least sharing that with us. I appreciate that. But yeah, anything you want to get out there, go right ahead. Well,
let me again repeat, really the big benefit, there's free radar wherever you are in the world. There's free radar. It's called planefinder.net. Now, there's a few other competitors. I just use Planefinder because to me it's easy, and I like the functions on it. It allows you to time travel back a couple of months if you need to. But Planefinder, just zoom in on your area. Just zoom in. When you see a helicopter coming, go outside and record it. Hold your phone sideways, landscape. Zoom in halfway. Don't zoom in too close, because you need 800 feet, 900 feet of from left to right. And look for that tiny, dark dot. You'll think it was a bug. It will only be there for one frame. If you think you see it, play it back on your computer, and you'll see the dragon fly by. And then please send me go to custodian file and let me know. My email is custodianfile@gmail. Please send me your video.
I'm going to do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yep.
No, Mike. It's really is that easy. I'm like, you're saying, oh, what are you talking about, Dr. Robert? NASA spends trillions of dollars looking for extraterrestrials, and you think you can just go out and record them with a cell phone? I mean, that's so ridiculous. Are you even a scientist? How can you make a statement like that? Oh, you're not a pharmacist.
Oh, believe me, I don't think that way. I totally believe it. And as a matter of fact, I was just going to say, I enjoy sometimes going to the airport and sitting and watching the planes take off and land. I never thought about recording it, though.
Mike, just do it. Please, you'll be surprised. And go on YouTube and watch the Blue Angels. Especially in Chicago, you'll see these things flying all over the sky. Just mind-boggling.
Fantastic, and I will. So, a website, anything else, quickly?
Oh gosh, there's a million things, but that's all things get tagged. So you know what? If someone's flying an Earth drone in your neighborhood, record the Earth drone. Balloons. If you see balloons, somebody record the balloons. It doesn't cost you anything to record and look at the video. Kites over 150 feet. Yes, and everything, even birds. A flock of birds. Record a flock of birds. you'll see they get tagged. And again, please send me the video. I'll post it.
All right, Robert.
Yep.
Listen,
Yep.
I will be in touch because I'd love to talk to you some more at some point. Keep up the great work. I love the videos, and you are very knowledgeable on this, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak, Mike. Thank you very much.
You bet, sir. Have a great night. Have a great weekend, rest of the weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, folks, there he goes, Robert Shiepe. What a great guest he was. There's good guests, and then there's great guests, and I have a lot of great guests. Guests that it's like sitting back in the living room on the couch and having a cup of coffee and just having a conversation. He was really easy to talk to and very willing to tell what he knows, and I loved what he said at the end there with this is a pharmacist. I didn't know. I mean, I guess common sense, right? But I didn't know for sure if, hey, you better not talk about this or that. Well, there you go. There you go. So I have been on now for the last, we're going on a week now, this keto diet. And I'll tell you what, not as rough as I thought it would be. I mean, you get a craving for some of the junk. You just, put something in your belly good, and it goes away. But yeah, I'm on it. I got a pair of jeans sitting over here in a closet of mine, and I know that I've gotten where I want to be when I fit back in those suckers. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm trying to practice what I preach here and get a little bit healthy. I want to be around a while, and so got to get back in shape. Anyways, I got to get the show in shape too. So we did tonight with a great guest. Tomorrow night I've got Aginas joining me. He says that there is a mothership approaching Earth. So we'll talk to him about that. That's tomorrow night on the VARA network, on the last frequency, which is on the VARA network, and any other place that we air. You'll definitely find us on Rumble tomorrow night, so make sure you tune in there. I want to thank each and every one of you, wherever it is you may be, around the globe, in the chat room, on another planet, or on the other side. This has been a broadcast of The Last Frequency with yours truly, Mike Vera. Keep your eyes posted to the sky, because you never know what you might see. And keep your ears posted to this broadcast, because you never know what you might learn. Good night, everybody.